All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Haloyam Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, so I have a few articles I want to get into, man. All right, to let you know what's happening, to let you know what's going on. All right, this ain't gonna be a long video. I just want to bring to you what's happening, man. All right, so I got this video here. This article here. All right, and the title reads: Canada rolls out mandatory digital ID for welfare recipients. All right, you see how this entire earth, all right, all these nations throughout the four corners of the earth are moving toward a digital age, bro. Everything is becoming digital, man. I'm constantly doing videos about digital IDs, man. All these nations are turning to digital IDs. If you follow my videos, you follow my channel, you see, man. You got to understand what time we're living in. All right. It's so easy to see that all this is leading up to what the Bible calls the mark of the beast. All right. The mark of the beast being the RFID microchip. That is what the mark of the beast is. All right. For certain and for surety, I tell you this. The mark of the beast is the RFID microchip. All right. And this is why we bring to you this news, man. So you're not living under a rock. You know what time you're living in. You know what's going on. Right? Because if you see what's going on, it's easy to see that the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip, man. You know? Because you have these false prophets that will tell you that the mark of the beast is not the RFID microchip, which the RFID microchip indeed is the mark of the beast that the Bible speaks of. All right. And you got these Israelite camps, these other Israelite camps. All right. They're not giving you whole truth. They're out here telling you that the mark of the beast is not the chip. The Lord is about to destroy these false prophets amongst Israel too. All right. But anyway, let's get into it, man. Canada rolls out mandatory digital ID for welfare recipients. All right. So let's see what's going on. All right. All right. Mandatory. All right. Mandatory. All right. All right. You got the UK with their mandatory digital IDs too. All right. You know, you got to have a digital ID in order to work in the UK. Now you got Canada's mandatory digital ID, right? Come on, man. All right. All these nations are you know, they already have implemented digital ID, right? They have intentions to implement digital ID, right? Or they're in discussions or talks about it, man. You know, Mexico, Australia. All right. Canada has announced plans to roll out mandatory digital ID for all welfare recipients in the country, including seniors on old age security. Canada's Department of Employment, in a recent note in Prime Minister Mark Carney's 2025 budget, declared that changes will be made to the Department of Employment and Social Development Act. The goal of the changes is to, quote unquote, enable the delivery of more integrated and efficient services across government. All right, these amendments would benefit all Canadians by enabling the development of more efficient and convenient government services. All right, read the note, adding modernizing legislative authorities to support information sharing and digital services would particularly benefit groups facing barriers due to outdated paper-based processes, particularly seniors. All right, you always got some guys and some crazy, bullshit reason why they moving toward a digital system, but we know what's going on, right? The true prophets and the true servants of the Lord, they are not ignorant of Satan's devices, like the scriptures say. We know what's happening, man. We're not easily fooled like the rest of this world that's living in darkness, that walk around aimlessly like zombies. Literally, they are zombies. I'm not speaking metaphorically. I'm talking about literally, the people on this earth are zombies. Literally brain dead. Have absolutely zero idea of what is happening and what is going on. Not even a tiny, what's that word? Iota. All right, iota or inkling of a clue of what's going on. Right? Let's keep reading. It says the Canadian government hired outside consultants tasked with looking into whether or not officials should proceed with creating a digital ID system for all citizens and residents. All right, as per a May 20, it says, as per a May 20 digital credentials issue memo, as noted by Blacklock's reporter, the adoption of such a digital ID system may be difficult. All right, Canada's Department of Employment has said that such a digital ID system would not be mandatory and would remain quote unquote voluntary and will not replace existing in-person mail or telephone based services. All right. However, as late as February, the Liberal government under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's immigration ministry, all right, as reported by LifeSite News, was secretly asking Canadians via surveys if they would accept a national identification program that will likely end up requiring each citizen to always have a type of digital passport on them. All right. It says Canada's Privy Council research from 2023 noted that there is strong public resistance to the use of digital IDs to access government services. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, all right, nonetheless sounded the alarm by promising to introduce a bill that would expressly prohibit digital IDs in Canada. Digital IDs and similar systems have long been pushed by globalist groups like the Economic World Forum and an organization with which Carney has extensive ties, all right, under the guise of ease of access and security. Yeah, all right. This is what the elites want, and it's going to happen, all right, because it's prophecy. All right, the mark of the beast is going to be ushered in, right, and that's going to try all the earth. All right, that's what it boils down to. All right, it's going to try everyone that is on the entire earth. All right, like Yahweh Shai said. All right, in Revelation the 3rd chapter, the 10th verse. All right, and it shall come upon all the earth to try them. All right. This is a global thing, all right? Globalist groups like World Economic Forum, all right, you see? All right, it says, critics, however, have warned that the purpose of such a system is actually to centralize control over citizens, yeah. All right, because the elites want, the elite bankers, right, want complete control over this entire earth. And that's what the mark of the beast is, the RFID microchip. All right, that's how they're gonna do it. All right, that's how they're gonna That's their agenda, to bring out the RFID microchip, to have all this earth under their control through the technology, which is the RFID microchip. All right, it says this opinion seems to be mirrored, all right, mirrored by the general public, with a Bank of Canada survey finding that Canadians are wary of a government-backed digital currency. All right, concluding that a significant number of citizens would resist the implementation of such a system. All right, and that's why the elites, all right, they're gonna you know, when you read a book called Codex Magica by Tex Mars, all right, you have something that's known as order ad chaos, which is Latin for order added chaos. And order added chaos is basically witchcraft, all right? That's what the elites use, all right, to put this world in an uproar, in chaos, and then come behind it with a solution to put the people in order. All right? So you see the people, all right, they might be resistant against a permanent mandatory digital implementation system, right? But that's when the elites come through and create chaos, to where you're going to have to take, right, the microchip, the mark of the beast, right? Because they're going to create this chaos to where you have no other choice to take it, right? And that's part of all the plan of the elites. All right, it says Carney has a history of backing central bank digital currencies, and supported in 2023 choking of the money donated to the Freedom of Convoy protest against COVID mandates. All right, so you see what's going on, man, with Canada and this digital ID. All right, but now I got this other article here, right? Which is going on with Venezuela and the U.S., right? So it says Venezuela announces massive mobilization of military forces as America's largest warship sails into region, right? So now you got a U.S. warship, all right? Bro, things are escalating crazy, all right, between the U.S. and Venezuela right now, which also means what? Tensions are going to rise between the U.S. and Russia, all right? And that's the Lord that's doing this to fulfill his word, to fulfill prophecy. The Lord is creating crazy tensions right now between the U.S. and Russia, because Russia going to be the main ones to destroy America in this third world war, to destroy Babylon in this third world war. Russia and Russia's allies are going to come against this place, and even the U.S.'s allies are going to come against this place, as it is written in the scriptures in the book of Revelation, right? The 10 horns shall hate the whore, right? The 10 horns talking about the EU, right, shall hate the whore, which is America. And then it says they shall burn her flesh with fire, roughly paraphrased, right? That's Revelation 17, right? Venezuela announces massive mobilization of military forces as America's largest warship sails into region. All right, Venezuela says it is launching a massive mobilization of military personnel, weapons, and equipment in response to the buildup of U.S. warships and troops in the Caribbean Sea. All right, land, air, naval, and reserve forces will carry out exercises through Wednesday, according to Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez, all right, who described the deployment as a response to the imperialist threat posed by the U.S. buildup. All right, and you just had Russia send Venezuela a whole bunch of military equipment, right? It says in addition to regular military units, the exercises will involve the Bolivian militia. Excuse me, uh, Bolivarian, all right, Bolivarian, all right, militia, a reserve force made up of civilians that was created by the late President Hugo Chavez and is named after Simon Bolivar, all right, the revolutionary who secured the independence of numerous Latin America countries from Spain. Padrino Lopez, who attributed, all right, the order directly to Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro, said the objective of the exercise was to optimize command, control, and communications and ensure the defense of the country. The move comes amid increasing tensions between the two countries and the U.S. buildup as the U.S. buildup continues. On Tuesday, the U.S. Navy announced the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, all right, America's largest warship, had arrived in the U.S. Southern Command area of operations, which includes most of Latin America. All right, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the Ford to make its way to the Caribbean from Europe late last month. All right, let's keep reading. It says the strike group accompanying the Ford brings with it 9 air squadrons, two Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers, the USS Bainbridge and USS Mahan, the integrated air and missile defense command ship USS Winston S. Churchill, and more than 4,000 sailors. You see? Woo! All right, it says the U.S. has framed its buildup of forces in the region as aimed at combating drug trafficking and the flow of drugs into the United States, and has carried out strikes on numerous alleged drug boats in recent weeks. All right, it says, however, Caracas believes the U.S. is really trying to force regime change, and some Trump administration officials have privately conceded their strategy is aimed at removing Maduro. All right, last month, Trump said he had authorized the CIA to operate in Venezuela, and he has previously suggested he was weighing the possibilities of strikes inside the country. Woo. All right. Though administration officials have since said the U.S. is not currently planning such action. All right. In this statement, Tuesday, Padrino Lopez framed the deployment of the Venezuelan forces as part of Maduro's wider independence plan to hunter a civic military strategy aimed at mobilizing conventional military forces alongside militia and police forces to defend the country. All right, Venezuela's conventional military, the Bolivarian National Armed Forces, has some 123,000 members. Maduro has also claimed that his volunteer militia now have more than 8 million reservists, though experts have called it into question that number as well as the quality of the troops' training. All right, so you see what's going on. All right, you see what's happening. It says at the same time, the U.S. has deployed 10 F-35 fighter jets to Puerto Rico, which has become a hub for the U.S. military as part of the increased focus on the Caribbean. The U.S. has also deployed at least 3 MQ-9 Reaper drones to the island, according to images captured by routers in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. All right, alongside the hardware, there are thought to be around 5,000 U.S. troops in Puerto Rico. All right, U.S. bombers also have flown several training missions near the Venezuelan coast, including a bomber attack demonstration in late October. All right, so you see what's going on. You see what's happening with the U.S. and Venezuela. Things is bro. All right, and that's going to also ramp up tensions between the U.S. and Russia, because the Venezuela and Russia are allies, and Venezuela and Russia just made their ties stronger. All right, their ties had just became stronger recently. Right, so you see what's going on with Venezuela and the U.S., and you see what's going on with Canada and this digital ID, man. You see what's going on, man. All right, so that's it. I just want to bring to you what's going on. All right, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Raktazah. This lesson is edifying. All right, so well, it wasn't really a lesson, but just to bring you this news. All right, but with that being said, on to the next one. Shalom.